The Quran presents shockingly accurate and insightful information when it comes to the Pharaoh of Moses, which is thought to be Ramses II. In this video, I want to share a couple points about the religion and lifestyle about Ramses II as mentioned in the Quran in light of some historical evidence. The first point I want to bring up is regarding the religion and practices of the people of Pharaoh. The Quran in chapter 79 and 26 makes the claim that Pharaoh has claimed to be the Lord and God of the people and enjoined his worship upon them. Now, modern archaeological discoveries have actually proven this to be true. We see that Ramses II had a great monument built at Abu Simbel in order to honor and venerate himself. Regarding this, archaeologist Alberto Cigliotti writes, the great temple at Abu Simbel took about 20 years to complete and was completed around the 24th year of the reign of Ramses II. It was dedicated to the gods Amun, Ra, Ptah, as well as the deified Ramses himself. It is considered to be one of the most beautiful and grandest temples during his reign and in Egypt. So we can see, just as the Quran claims, Ramses II did deify himself. It's important to note that this temple was lost and buried in sand for the past 2,000 years and was only discovered recently in the early 1800s. The second point I want to bring up is the Quran's mentioning regarding the construction of great obelisks or pillars by Ramses II. The Quran in chapter 89 states, Pharaoh, owner of Autad, which can be translated as pillars, obelisks, pyramids, or structures. Now, these obelisks and pillars can be historically placed on the southern side of the Karnak temple. Now, although the Karnak temple was built in the Middle Kingdom period where there were no such thing as pharaohs, only kings, the obelisks or pillars built on the southern side were made by Ramses II as evident by the hieroglyphics written on them. So we can see that the Quran is explicit and in complete harmony with the historical findings of the last few centuries, which makes its claim unique and amazing. And finally, the last point I want to bring up is regarding the lifestyle of Pharaoh. In chapter 10, the Quran makes a claim that Pharaoh was domineering in the land and prone to excess. Now, we've already seen how he built many monuments and temples and pillars, but I just want to bring a few quotes from historians and archaeologists. Historian Eric Uphill writes that the palace of Ramses II was the most vastest and most costly human residence ever built by the hands of man. Historian and Egyptologist Kenneth Kitchen writes, certainly in his building works for the gods, Ramses II surpassed not only the 18th dynasty to which he belonged, but also every other period in Egyptian history. National Geographic writer Kristen Rattini writes, Pharaoh, during Egypt's golden age, Ramses II built more monuments and sired more children than any other Egyptian king. It's important to note that no other ancient texts mention anything like this or anything about the deification or worship of Pharaoh. Even if this information seems very obvious, it was not known to us until the discoveries made in the early 1800s. Yet the Quran mentions this hundreds and hundreds of years after this information was lost. How could an illiterate shepherd from the 7th century of Arabia know anything like this or have access to any of this knowledge? The Quran boldly states its origin to be divine revelation and it proves itself to be true.